right. Thanks so much. It's a pleasure to be with you all, and certainly the experience and the success of many of you all. I appreciate being able to be with you all and being among you today. I've been asked to talk a little bit about the purpose-driven economic development organization. A lot of us have run economic development organizations, and so hopefully some of these themes will be familiar to you. The first thing we have to do when we're looking at our organization, of course, we have to understand its culture, we have to understand its tradition, we have to understand its history, and we have to understand where it's going. We have to think about what's the motive of our economic development organization. Is this helping our local leaders climb the social ladder? Is it helping them gain greater personal wealth or company success? There are a lot of different goals when we're dealing with individuals and volunteers in our community. We have to be sensitive to those, but we have to also not compromise the goals of our EDO by creating jobs and investment. Have you ever been in a community that talks a little bit about why they exist? Sometimes the organization you're with will have a tradition of strong leaders and be very trade or personality driven. Maybe you'll be all about the building. Well, what's the building going to look like? We're going to have this kind of building. This is the only kind of building that will work. Is it around the fall feather hunt or the red carpet tour or maybe your local developer's day? Maybe it's driven that way. So at the end of the day, we have to peel that away and get to a result-oriented, a purpose-driven organization. Have you ever gone back and just say, hey, why do we exist? You know, this last year, the zero-based budget was reintroduced in the state government. This is the same kind of activity that we can do in our economic development organizations. We need to define and refine our purpose. If we have a clear sense of who we are and what we're doing and why we're there, then we're going to have positive excitement and enthusiasm from our volunteers and from our staff and from our community. Have you ever been in a community where maybe it wasn't so clear and so it was hard to get traction? Did you ever have frustration because the performance measures were not clear? It allows us to hone in and use our time wisely, because a lot of times our volunteers have a very limited amount of time to dedicate towards our work. Well, there's 4 steps into becoming a purpose-driven economic development organization. The first one is to define your purpose. The second is to communicate that purpose. The third is to organize around those purposes. And then the fourth is to apply those purposes in our day-to-day activities. The first one, we define our purpose. Again, we ask, who are we? What do we want to be? What's going to measure success? And you know, it's not so much that we have to hit a home run right away. Let's get a single. Let's steal first base. Let's get to second base. Let's get some positive momentum. And sooner than later, we'll find, as you all well know, that then the home runs, then the grand slams start to come along. The second step is to communicate our purpose. We know why we exist. We know what we're doing, but do our volunteers know the elevator speech? Does the newspaper know our values? Do they know how we're measuring success? A lot of times the newspaper won't give you credit because they don't see you accomplishing the goal that you've set forth for yourself. And so we have to communicate that in our taglines, in our symbols, in our culture. And we have to have that sustained marketing message to continue to communicate those purposes in our work. And then we have to organize around our purpose. You know, some organizations have had the same structure forever, and the community says, this is how we do economic development, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to have the chamber do this, and the development authority do that, and the CVB do that. Well, you have to re-examine those things. The community changes, doesn't it, over time? Structures change. If you want to be more streamlined, if you want to dedicate more resources or aggregate your resources into specific goal areas, that's what's going to bring success, not diluting your resources. the fourth step, last one, is applying your purpose. So if you want to create jobs, you've got to be a good place to work too. You've got to teach by example. If you want good jobs, you've got to provide good jobs. You can't have a culture of this not being a good place to work. If your employees are unhappy with you, then maybe you need to work internally so that you can create that cultural expectation in the kinds of companies that you recruit. Once we have those purposes defined, refined, we know them, everybody's on board, then we have to target our efforts. A lot of times we're critical of different granting organizations because they dilute their influence by giving you just a little bit here and a little bit there. Within our community, then what we have to do is we go back, don't we, and we find these resources and we pull them back together into one. So targeting provides, it translates our desires into actions once we define those targets. Who is your target? What is your company going to be? Are you going to be a biotech company? Are you going to be a medical device company? Are you going to be a natural resources community? What are you going to be? What's your best self? What's your best community? And try and help your leaders catch that vision if they don't already have it. And it's fine to have long-term goals, and it's fine to change into something, but there's pent-up demand in every community. We as economic developers sometimes get so focused, we sometimes don't go and get the obvious prospect, or we don't go toward the obvious industry. So there's always pent-up demand in our area that we can take advantage of that some economic developer maybe hasn't taken advantage of before. So take advantage of the low-hanging fruit. And lastly, as you tactically work your way into this, then you'll start getting a vision, of course, as you all well know, of what you want to accomplish. And would you agree with me that we never dream too big? We never have the highest expectations. We can always go higher, bigger, faster. I've been inspired by Billy Payne. Billy Payne wanted to bring the Olympics here, and I said, you know what? and who'd have thunk? And yet we were able to achieve that goal as a community and as a state because somebody was not afraid to dream. And I believe that's true for our communities as well. We have to lead everybody out of the cave and see what's possible and get excited about crazy ideas, crazy but exciting prospects. And there's your purpose-driven economic development organization. Obviously, Rick Warren's written a book about a purpose-driven church that a lot of this is based on. And thank you very much.